Hey, what a vlog, huh? It's not you, it's the ball joint. Like, you can't help that. That ball joint.
But how often do I drive your truck? And the one time I'm in it for 5.5 seconds, I break some shit.
That ball joint has been on there for a lot of abuse. So we're getting ready to work on the boat today, me and Jonathan, and so I was having him back the truck into the garage because it was parked facing this way, and I hear this loud clack from inside the garage, and I was like, oh no. I said he probably was backing down this driveway and hit this concrete wall. I was like, oh man, no way. Well, lifted life, snapped the ball joint in half. All right guys, so today I'm literally installing like the 9th or 10th motor mount. It really might be the 10th motor mount on my 2008 Silverado 1500. 4-wheel drive. Whenever the motor mount breaks, every time it rips the transmission mount literally in half. And I am just calling today for a better solution. This truck is lifted, and yes, it's pulling more than it normally should be and all this stuff, but if the only problem I have, if my transmission can hold it, if my engine can make, my 4.8 liter engine can make the power, can we get an engine mount that doesn't just rip in half? At very minimum, you know, I mean, at most I'm getting like 30,000 miles out of them, maybe. No, really, it's got to be less than that, because I've got 300 now. I'm getting like 7 or 10,000 miles out of them. It's just ridiculous. I feel like 100,000 miles is a reasonable life expectancy for most parts on a vehicle. And on these particular trucks, even on this, the other day, I had to do one on an Avalanche. It was a guy who is like an older dude, doesn't like roughhouse it around. And I mean, his had a lot of miles on it. I mean, his was factory, had a lot of miles. I mean, it did its time. But I got one from the dealership for this truck, and it went out in the 13th month, and it was warranted for a year. So that one, I want to say, might have been one that lasted 30,000 miles, but now $70 for 30,000 miles, or $20 online for 10,000 miles. I mean, I don't know. Is it worth it? What's worth it? I saw some that they have on eBay that are solid steel welded mounts, but I mean, beyond doing that, I mean, they should be able to put a bolt, I mean, have a plate on the engine, a plate on the, I mean, I don't know, something that, because these, the way that it pulls it apart is just not a good design. There's nothing to keep it from coming all the way apart, and your engine will literally just lift up off of them if they rip. There should be some surrounding metal with a center rubber core, and I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just feel like that there should be a calling for somebody to go, and I wish I had the time. I was offering transmission mounts. I mean, not transmission mounts, but the bracket for your rack and pinion that's cast from the dealer. You have to buy the... there's a whole video about that. You can look it up on my channel. But I'm just calling for someone who has the resources to sell an affordable mount. It could be still cheaply made, just better design, something that has something to prevent the rubber from being able to stretch completely out of whack. Because when you let that mount, you have the plate on the top and the plate on the part on the bottom, and the only part holding it together is the rubber sticking to the metal, and they have these, some of them make it with these little hoops on there that they rivet in place, and I have had my truck just break that thing right off. So they've attempted, but I feel like it should be a cylindrical deal with rubber poured in on both sides, and I mean, there's got to be something. And so if you feel the same way, if you have one of these like 7.5 to 13, 15, I don't know when they start, if they even still use the same mounts that they have today, but some shop needs to come up with a not $400 option, for us to fix this problem, because it's just getting ridiculous to have to continuously, like, and it makes my front drive shaft drag on my on the frame. I mean, I'll show you briefly what I'm talking about, because I mean, we all know, if you know your motor mount brakes, your engine can raise up in the engine bay, and that causes it to twist, and then it can damage things. But if you look right here, there's like no clearance between this shaft and the cross member. So when my engine mount tears completely in half and my engine lifts, you know, up this way, my engine's gonna swivel up, and it causes it to rip this. I mean, you can see the bolts are out of it, but, well, that bolt's out of it, but this one isn't. I mean, that bolt's still in there. I don't know how in the hell this other bolt got out, but it's just, I mean, it doesn't even matter, because it's ripped. The steel is ripped in half. I mean, that's my problem here. And you can see it's gouging up the transfer case, or the extension housing, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm getting tired of doing the same job every like 2 months. It's so, or 3 months. It's so freaking annoying. So that's my call to the people, that you should like, share, do whatever it is that you do on here, and let's have some fabrication place that can make it efficiently, and just start pumping these things out. I mean, it would be worth $70 easy. I mean, if you go much higher than 70, people are gonna think, well, if I just get the cheap one, you know, the $30 one or whatever, that I can probably make that last a while, and, you know, save $35 or whatever. But that might be worth it. If you went up to 120 or something, they might stick with the 35 and say, I'll just change them out. But for me, working in this truck, I don't know. I would like for you to come up with one for 70, match the dealer's prices, and create a mount that just doesn't rip in half. I mean, I understand we're dampening vibration and such and such, but I'm doing these mounts like I have regular customers who, some of them have big wheels, and that, I mean, typically, obviously, if you have, whether you have mud tires or big wheels and rubber bands on there, I mean, either way, it's stressing it out and all that. And but my truck has a 4.8 liter, like, and I need to tow this little bit of weight. This boat's not heavy, and the little trailers I pull, but it's just getting so ridiculous. And my driveway is kind of, I mean, it doesn't even matter, but I mean, like, for me to have to speak to the fact that my driveway is steep enough to damage my engine mounts is like enough in itself. So anyway, call to the people, call to the machine shop, call to wherever, because I've been on Amazon and Google, or, you know, eBay. I've done my diligence in finding out, and like I say, they offer ones that are solid, but solid is gonna, I mean, they say that it's not gonna increase the vibration, but I feel like you don't want to bolt solid steel to your aluminum. Well, I guess it's a steel block. I mean, unless you have a whatever, you know, pretty sure a 6.2 is, or what, you know what I'm saying, an aluminum block, in whatever configuration that might come in. But, you know, I wouldn't want to put something solid, but you got to have it where the force is not just held by glue. It needs to be held by metal on the other side with, you know, some medium in it, some material, a better design. 2008 through 13, 15, whenever. Silverado, Yukon, Tahoe, Suburban, whatever. We need a better engine mount option. And they've got this. I mean, I've had both styles that they've got in here. It's one of them is the kind of, like I said, with the loop on it. Let's grab this other one right here and see what they got me. Because if you look up the 6.0, it shows a different type mount than if you look up the 4.8. But yeah, see, this is bullshit. This is where the problem lies. So, wherever you guys are at. So, if you see this hoop going around right here, like it's like a half horseshoe deal, or a horseshoe deal. If, I mean, when the engine pulls on this mount, I mean, you can even see when I do that, it's stretching the cracks in this. And that doesn't have bolts going through it. I mean, I guess that could be the ultimate solution. Drill some bolts through here, and that way it can never tear the rubber. Just tighten them lightly, and it should still, maybe with rubber-headed washers under them. I don't know. I'm not in this business, but I just feel like they're not doing this the best way. They know. Because, see, at first, when this tears away from here, because the engine torque is pulling these, separating these, and this rubber can't handle it, when this tears away, the first thing it's going to do is catch that little horseshoe. Because there's, I mean, you can see that's metal all the way through right there. But I've had experience where it just pulls these rivets right out. But see, that shouldn't be a last resort. That little horseshoe deal right there shouldn't be a last resort. That should be, have rubber between it, or they should make it wider around and put a rubber strap between them so that it never lets this tear away. Because the way they have it now, it will let this rubber tear away. And it does it every single time, and I just am so over it. So, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, share, do your thing, and let's find a better solution for this. And let me give you one more while I'm here, because I have this Anchor brand mount, which we've already done this video pretty much, but this is just a call to have someone do something about it. But you can see down there on mine, I mean, this is, well, looks like they over poured in the casting on this one, but anyway, you can see the gauge of this. The ones you buy online are even skinnier. Now, I mean, this is like, I don't know what it is, 1/8 inch or something, but, or 1/4 inch, but that's probably 1/8 inch. But anyway, but this is from the parts store, the Anchor brand, and it's heavier duty than the ones you buy online. And I mean, mine will just rip the ones online in half in a quick, fast, and hurry. But the one that's on there now is the same one that I got from O'Reilly, like not even 3 months ago, and or 6 months ago maybe, and it's just broken in half right along that seam. So I mean, and ultimately, I mean, the transmission mount does do hard work, but ultimately it's probably the fault of having a bad engine mount on there for some time, and it's smashing around under there and all that. But I mean, that brings me back to the problem. Let's get an engine mount that is like A1, good to go for 200,000 miles or forever because it's encased. The rubber is encased. And like the worst it could do is squeeze it down a little bit or something. But not tear away from it. Because every time mine does this. You can see my engine. Oh, y'all are going to make me do this, aren't you? Alright. Look at this. So anyway, I'm sure you can see how violently this broken engine mount allows the engine to jump, because there are styles that won't allow it that much freedom, or will just maintain, if it does break, it will maintain a lot closer tolerance than to let it jump around like that. So, alright guys, really gonna get out of here this time. Thanks for watching. Catch us on the next one.
Hard right. Gotta have Jack Daniels, always. Scott's over here cutting wood. This is our makeshift fire pit.
Bacon and eggs and biscuits on this here fantabulous fire. Alright guys, be sure and hit that like button if you like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment if there's anything you'd like to see in the near future. Thanks. See ya.